members at the Somerville Public Library and members of the SMEA, the Somerville Municipal Employees Association Union. We're going to want to go around and everybody introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Ellen Jacobs. I'm the head of Teen Services at the Central Library. I've been here about 25 years.
My name is Tim Devin. I'm the head of technology for the library system, and I've been here for 7 years.
My name is Tim Buckingham, and I work in the reference department here at the Central Library, and I have been here for a little over a year and a half.
And my name is Kerry O'Donnell. I am the head of adult services, so I work on programs, Library of Things, and a bunch of other stuff. I've been here about 5 years. And just to kick off our discussion, can everybody please share some of their thoughts about staff morale?
Sure, yeah. So I think that staff are feeling really frustrated. Anecdotally, I've heard that about a third of all staff are looking around for other jobs right now. And I think that that's largely due to the low pay and lack of faith in the fact that we would get an adequate raise and a fair contract. Contract negotiations are going on right now. And so that's compounded with the fact that the city is dragging its feet with the contract negotiations, as well as rising cost of living and housing, for sure.
Yeah, about 75% of our staff can't afford to live in Somerville. So us as, faces who interact with the community, we can't afford to start our families here, to build our homes here, to be a part of the community that we're trying to serve. And when you look at the Massachusetts Library Association,
Board of Library Commissioners.
When you look at the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners, their stats show that we are drastically underpaid when you compare to local other municipal libraries in Cambridge, in Arlington, in Medford, in Belmont. We are actually the third largest branch in the Minuteman library system in terms of patrons served, and we are also the third worst paid on average.
Another thing is that our salaries are not competitive with the salaries that are paid to people at City Hall who have similar levels of education and experience.
And I think just library-wide morale just feels pretty low. Like when you come into work, it seems like most people are frustrated on a daily basis because of overwork and I think a general lack of faith that the city understands our struggles or wants to do anything to really truly improve our lives, both inside and outside of work. Whether it's through better pay, which could relieve some of the stresses that we deal with in life, like everybody else does. Inflation, the rising costs of living, student loan debt, just rising rents and living expenses. Or just ensuring that we have enough staff to handle the workload that we're being asked to do. It would be nice if they understood that we need more help and we just generally need some more empathy.
So can each of you say a little something about worker turnover, Tim?
Sure, yeah. So since June of 2022, which is when we began contract negotiations and our contract expired, there's been a 25% turnover in full-time staff. So 25% of full-time staff has left in the past 15 months. And this has caused staff to have to pitch in and cover for other people, which then, makes it so that we can't do our jobs as adequately, right? Number one. Number two, it also means that we can't do things like long-term planning, since we're just caught up in the day-to-day coverage of staff desks. The reference department, for instance, which is where Tim works, has lost 2 members recently, one just this past week, which means that they're incredibly short-staffed, for sure.
Yeah, and the fact that we're so short-staffed up there at the reference desk, where we spend most of our time interacting with patrons and community members, is that we miss out on building those kind of long-term relationships. Getting to know the familiar faces, getting to know the people who come by, like building a reputation and building recognition in the community. And if we can't rebuild that trust, like how are we supposed to even do our job as, members of the community and advocates for them?
I think one of the other things to note is that we've just lost some really incredibly talented and hardworking people who could have done so much for the community had they been retained. Most of them have left, kind of like we said before, for other area libraries, so they're not even going that far. They're just going somewhere where they're given better pay, lighter workloads, better benefits, and potentially a means of advancing to the next step or the next level in their careers, or they're like helping them reach their personal goals. All of things that they were unable to access or achieve here. And it's kind of a shame because I really feel like there should be more done to keep those people who are working so hard. And if we're constantly having to find and hire and onboard new workers, that represents a significant amount of time. Like Tim was saying, we're pulled away from our day-to-day responsibilities. And we have less time to dedicate to helping the public.
I know that safety has been a concern at the library for the past year. We've had some conversations surrounding that. Does anyone have anything they want to say about worker safety?
Sure, yeah. So this is part of a larger conversation, but I think it goes back to staffing levels. So we work with the public, and there are often incidents, and when we are short-staffed, then workers are in a more vulnerable situation. And I think that if we were adequately staffed, that we would be more prepared for these situations, for sure.
Yeah. I think one of the things that has been on our minds is that it feels like there's zero concern for either our physical or our mental well-being on the part of City Hall. And that sort of what seems like a lack of care, it sort of adds to the stress that we deal with the already overloaded work and other responsibilities that we have. Not to mention, like, the physical state of the building. When you come into work and you're working in an environment where you feel like you have to wear jackets and sweatshirts, or where you feel like the heat is so hot that, like, you're not going to be able to actually breathe properly. Those things impact how you work, and it would be nice if we felt like somebody actually wanted to do something about that.
All right, so how's everybody feeling about outsourcing?
Well, the city, we have a lot of substitute librarians in here, which the city actually pays the substitute librarians a higher rate than they pay full-time librarian 1 positions at this library. So to me that says two things. The city's admitting that the pay for the librarian 1's full-timers is not adequate. They have to pay more just to get a substitute, and also that this level of staffing is not adequate. We have to have these people in all the time. Now these are wonderful part-time workers. We really like having them, and they help us a very lot. But for the most part, they're library science students who either don't have any or don't have much experience working in a library. So regularly using them to staff desks that should be staffed with professional librarians it's like having a substitute teacher teach your kids all the time. You don't get the same level of experience. It's not the same. It's not what our community deserves. And having said that, outsourcing jobs is not a huge problem here at the library, but that's not true of other SMEA workers who work in departments where the outsourcing is a big problem. We want to say that we stand in solidarity with those SMEA workers who are negatively impacted by the city outsourcing their jobs.
Okay, so fun topic. Can everybody give me their reactions to the drawn-out union contract negotiations?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating for sure. The administration ran on a platform of better pay for city workers, and here we are 15 months later without a contract, and the city dragging its feet to give us a raise. But it's also frustrating the situation the thing that put us in this situation in the first place with our lower pay across the board compared to other municipalities in the area. And that was the previous mayor who chose to prioritize other staff within the city and not our union. And that was done with the specific aim of retaining talent. So other city workers were paid more and got better raises for years and years, specifically to retain talent, but our union was chosen not to see that same number of raises. And that to me is really the chestnut right there, is the lack of care, focus, and attention and appreciation for what we do.
Yeah, and to build on what Tim is saying, while these contract negotiations have been going on, we've been hemorrhaging talent. We have been losing lots of passionate, motivated, incredibly talented young librarians who are bringing the new lens of librarianship here, who have big ideas and big thoughts about how to try things and how to do things. And we just can't keep them. And if we can't keep them, then nothing is going to grow. Nothing is going to change.
Another point that doesn't get made very often is that at the way things stand now, it is to the city's benefit to drag out these negotiations. And the reason for that is eventually they'll have to pay us back pay for all the months that we went without the raise that they'll eventually agree to. But in the meantime, they have the use of that money, and they never pay us interest on it. So the city has interest-free use of our money for as long as they can drag these contract negotiations out. And I just want to point out that a couple of contracts back, that was 7 years. 7 years of interest that we just gave the city.
And it's just, for me, it just feels completely illogical to, there are so many stats out there that prove that happy employees work better, they have a higher output, they're more creative. There's so many things that they do when they feel happy and comfortable and safe in their jobs. So to continuously stall and to kind of just treat us like we don't have our own needs doesn't make sense, at least in my understanding. I don't know the reasoning behind it, and I don't think it will ever make sense to me, because in the long run they're going to spend more money and more time constantly having to fill the jobs as these talented people leave for greener pastures, and they're going to just have to spend so much time replacing them over and over again, and it's just going to give them a reputation for being bad faith negotiators. They're destroying any trust that we might have and giving us no incentive to support them when they might need us in the future.
All right, so how did everybody feel about the honk parade?
Everybody loves the library. Like, it was really great to be out there and to see all the members of the community, honk if you love libraries. Like, everybody's honking, people, really love us. It feels great.
Yeah, the community support that we saw really warmed my heart. I literally never felt so appreciated for the work I do in the 25 plus years I've worked here. We really love our community. We enjoy providing services to them, and to get some of that shining back at us is really special.
Yeah, I will say that I was sad that I had responsibilities that kept me from being there in person, but I was really happy to be able to provide some creative art and
She
signage
made the
ahead of
signs.
time. I wanted to make sure that I was able to participate in some way, and I think it was wonderful to see and hear afterwards how much love there was and support there was from the community, and not just support for us, because we do always appreciate when that happens, but towards the SMEA in general. And it was really nice to have an opportunity and to see the opportunity to stand in solidarity with our fellow SMEA union workers.
Yeah, and it wasn't just SMEA too. It was also Somerville Stands Together, so it was a coalition. And to just visibly be part of that, I think was really wonderful. It was great meeting a lot of the people from other SMEA departments, like DPW. I met some people from inspectional services. And it was just nice to spend that time together and like be able to chat in a way that we don't often get to, I think.
Well, thank you all for this great session.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
So appreciate it.
Yeah.
Somerville Library leads the way, SMEA leads the way, and library workers lead the way.
Yep. Get up.
Yeah.
Get down. Somerville is a union town.
Oh yeah.
Yep, we keep our city running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
We're happy to do it.
Heck yeah.